First books, first novels. I will tell you this much. It always takes the longest. It takes you forever to write. I'm not talking about the 50 other stories you started and sort of finished, your other NaNoWriMo. I'm talking about the first novel you decided that is going to be published. Whether you self-publish or, send out your query letters, whatever that choice is, that novel takes the longest to work on because you're still learning. And there's a whole wide gap of learning. So what is my first novel? My first novel was Rebirth, from the Tattooed Angels trilogy. Now, granted, I had played around with it, then double backed, got nervous, took it down because I self-published it, and then I put up Cedric, and then Cedric technically is the second book I ever published. But I cut my teeth on both those books. But Rebirth was more emotionally connected to me. Very much so. It got me through a lot. And I didn't realize how impactful that story was, not only to me, but anyone who had ever touched the early variants. And when I say early variants, I am talking about notebooks that I was hiding in other people's lockers because I was afraid of losing it. And that early edition wasn't called Rebirth. I originally was going to call it Sakujin, and a lot of decisions went into reworking it. I looked into, marketing, marketability, and all these other things, and had advice from literary agents and things like that I applied to it from this high school variant. But I want to share, what did that look back? What do you mean notebooks from high school? Guess what? I have them. So yes, my original last name was Cook, but this is one of them. Anyone out there who went to high school with me might recognize this crazy handwritten aspect. These earlier, I don't even think this is Windows Word. I think this is WordPad versions where I'm editing and trying to figure out stuff. But I literally would handwrite and then type up. It's wild to think of. This story came so much further since then. And then, of course, when I decided that it was time to look at it more professionally, I eventually applied this version. So this is really my first edit, my first draft, my first revision copies. And here are printed notes from and charts, anything I thought was important, timelines. This notebook specifically has notes for the second and third books. But again, now we're in Microsoft Word. We're getting a little bit of that template look. But I was even making notes. What things I'm doing repeats of. Notes from people who commented and dove into this. I mean, it took a lot. And even this version is a long shot of what I ended up publishing after many proofreaders, alpha readers, beta readers, and the likes. So yeah, it was crazy because on autonomy.com was still around. It had ranked pretty high, this version of the story. And you can see this is 9/16/2011. I don't even know what dates, I graduated in 2003, so the story's been alive for a long time. And then eventually I self-published with these cover designs. So if you guys have this cover design, that's it. That's all that's ever going to be made. This was me trying to learn to typeset using Microsoft Word. This was me cutting my teeth on self-publishing and design work and everything like that. But now the book has been professionally redone. And you can snag a copy of Rebirth, which is book 1, Judgment, which is book 2, and Death. What's the story about? This is a story about Hoten, who is a failed reincarnation and has to figure out, does he become the guy they say he is, or does he choose his own path? And then we jump in sort of a prequel kind of vibe, and we follow the older brother to find out what really happened back then. Talib is the element of judgment, and he's got to learn that he can't clean up the old Holton's mess, and he's got to decide whether to be a big brother or continue to clean up messes for his old brother, right? And then Death, it follows, sort of goes back and forth between Hoten and his father, who is Iapetos. And basically it's, do we continue this toxic trend? Do we continue passing on this nastiness that one family member has created for everybody, or do we fix what we have? And that book answers this at the end of this. So if you like dark urban fantasy young adult vibes with lots of action and historical fiction kind of vibes, that is Rebirth. And yes, I do have these for sale. They're also for sale with my publisher, but this here is the book I cut my teeth on. It was my first novel. It took me well over 12 years to finish writing the initial story of this book. Probably took me another 3 or more years to revise and edit, but now I write novels in 3 months time. And everyone's different, because these are all pushing 90,000 plus words, so good times. But that's my first novel, and a lot of authors will tell you that first novel is the hardest, but once you cross that line, you can never go back, and it's a very freeing experience, though heart-wrenching and emotional and scary on so many levels. But it's been nice to be able to finish that story and tell the rest of it to my, and finish it for those who were there at the beginning. So thank you guys for all your support.